to begin our shiur in chinuch yiladim, in raising our children, our loved ones. We're up to shiur number 3, Baruch Hashem. This shiur is sponsored for the refuah shlema of all the ill and all the healthy as well. So just because people don't get sick doesn't mean there's a guarantee they're not gonna get sick. So refuah shlema for all. B'riut etana, very very healthy b'ezat Hashem, and as well also lots of wealth. People should find parnasa b'kalut. It's a time out there where Baruch Hashem. We see Yad Hashem every day. We see miracles happen every day, Baruch Hashem. If it doesn't come from the actual business, it comes from somewhere else. And also, it also should be Leilu Nishmat for all the Niftarim, and also it should be Aliyah for all the people who are alive as well, because we need Aliyah in Ruchaniyut in this generation more than any other time. We're talking about raising children. Rabbi Salanta, he was the father of the movement, of the Musar movement, of teaching ethics and teaching people how to act properly. He said once to a student of his who became a shochet, he became a professional shochet. And because he was so much worried, shchita is not a small thing. If you slaughter one little wrong way, she'iyah b'shchita, you wait a little, or you do something wrong, you go too far, you don't go too close, you don't cut enough, you cut too much, it could make the whole animal nevela into the fire and whatnot. And because he was so much scared and afraid, nevelot to the fort, I don't want, the achrayut, I don't want the responsibility, he decided, what? Instead of being a shochet, I'm going to become a Rabbi in yeshiva. I want to become a mechanech. I want to become a Melamed Torah. Go to teach Tinokot Shel Bet Chaban, teach little kids. As Rabbi Sal tza'ak alav, Rabbi Sal grabbed him, he yelled at him, Nazav bo, he gave it to him. He says, what do you think? He says, slaughtering animals is only nevilot utrevot. He says, by children you're working with neshamot. You have to realize that you're working with neshamot. You're raising an army of Hashem. You're building the future generation. You're putting so much. It's much more chamur, much more difficult. Don't take it lightly. Raising children is not a light matter. It's not something to say, they'll grow. What's the big deal? Right? We also grew up. We'll also grow. No, it doesn't work that way. You gotta put a lot of effort into it. We have an interesting concept. We want to raise our children. Today, B'ezat Hashem, we will talk about certain points where I'm going through a sefer. It's a sefer madrich, a book that's that's giving proper advice to rabbeim, to teachers in school, how to act with children, what to do and how to do in order to make sure the outcome. The outcome will be a great outcome. To bring out the proper results. You want good results. So it says over here, it says a very interesting concept. It says a Rabbi, a teacher, a father, a mother, they have to learn the concept of savlanut. You have to be very patient. With children, with a wife, right? With relatives, with people around you. Savlanut is number one. You gotta be very patient. Very patient. To the extent we'll see that this is a key in raising children. You have to have a lot of savlanut. A lot of patience. You could sometimes think, you want a way to get something across to a child. And you're putting so much effort into it. You say, Lama ata lo makshiv? Why don't you listen? You don't hear well. Of course, you're hearing as well. Why are you ignoring? Why this? Right? And there's no end to it. You have to have a lot of savlanut. Lots of patience. Lots of it. Before you start jumping into getting excited, this is the most important point. You can't have excitement in chinuch. You're not allowed to get overly excited. If you have the rage, the excitement, everything, you're going to come to a point of making a lot of mistakes. You'll come to a point of hitting a child. You're going to come to a point of doing things the wrong way. You have to be on the ball. Like one time they said, before you come to a point of punishing a child, which we have to explain what punishing is all about. They say this is a shiur in itself. Or before you give a yelling to a child, you yell at him. Yeah, you want to blow them away. So before you do that, what are you preparing yourself to? What is the child seeing you do? Because you have to understand, when you do something to a child, you're only doing it because what's your point? You're trying to train him. You're trying to teach him. You're trying to explain to him. This is what's not to be done. But how does, there's a give and take. You're here to give, but is he there to take? Is he there? You want to explain something, tell something, give something, a message across. You want to say something to him, but is he there to listen to you? A lot of times, you see a person, right, a father, he gets, let's say, right, the father, the mother, the siblings, the brothers, the sisters, they get angry and upset. When you act out of anger, you know what a child understands? You don't love me. You don't care about me. You know what you're doing? You're just trying to calm yourself down. You got angry, and because you got angry, you're trying to cool yourself off, and by getting yourself calm is the only way you do it is by yelling at me, screaming at me, hitting me, right? Calling me names and whatnot. There's many things people, right? Some people just even say bad words for no reason at all. You have to know, you have to have a lot of patience. A child did something wrong. You look at him. You look at him. Just by looking at him, you stop. You give him your attention. And he realizes, umistakil alay. That look in itself is already a sort of a punishment. Because a child, what's the point of punishing a child? To explain to him that he did something wrong. He did something that makes me feel bad. He did something which is inappropriate, not something proper thing to do. And here you are, just by giving him that look, zakvar ha'onesh. And you give him that look and you say, and you this in itself is a punishment already. You stop. You don't act out of, just because you are heated up, don't act out. Wait, don't do anything. I remember there was one time a story. A rabbi never wanted to get angry. So what did he used to do? Kova. He used to always put his head by the entrance to the house, away from the table. Sitting by a table, somebody did something wrong. Here, he made a deal with himself. The only time he's going to get angry is only when they bring him his hat. Then he's going to get angry. So by the time they go to get the hat and bring it to him, already passed. There's no anger anymore. You come to a child after you calm down, you grab him. You take him to the corner. Don't embarrass a child. When you punish a child in front of everyone, that's what everybody says. אחד לא מספיק, מה נסתר עליו? קימו מבוא, כף אחד, 10 זהב, מלאה חיתורת, פר אחד, רעית בן בחר. He goes, אחד אחרי השני, כל הקורבנות של הניסים. פרשת ניסים, no, not for no reason. You have to grab a child. And you should know, I'm talking to myself too. A lot of times we do things, right, and we just, because we don't feel comfortable, or we feel under pressure, and we do things, and we're not getting the point, of course. We're not raising the child properly. We're not getting the message. All he understands is he wants to cool off. Because he wants to cool down, he beats me up. Because he wants to cool down, he yells at me. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. And we know that by children, more than being strict with them, you have to know to love them. Yes, there's a reason to love children, to love a wife, to love children, right? More than coming to a point of punishing them. The only reason why we should really punish our children is because we love them. And the child has to understand that. So what you do is you wait a little. And then you call them over and say, come, I want to talk to you. You go outside somewhere and say, come, we're going for a walk. You walk with them and you explain to them. Say, you know what? And you explain to him from, looking from the side, right? Side view. When I looked from the side, I saw you did the following. And let me explain to you. And you tell them the whole story. I saw you came into the house. And the first thing you did was, the first thing that was done. Don't say you. It's not a good thing to do. You. trying to push it in a little more, rub it in, right? No. You say what I saw was done. What was done was this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to explain something to you. I want to tell you that this is not appropriate to be done. It's not acceptable. And you should know, because it's not appropriate, מגיע לך קצת עונש. עונש, the punishment is not there to beat him up. Rambam says specifically, not to beat up children. Do not beat them up, makat retzach. Don't do makat akhzari. So don't hit a child with, brutally beating him up. Because the child's never going to learn anything. Never going to learn anything. What you do is, Chazal says, if you see a child not behaving, right, you give him the proper vitamins that he needs. There's something called vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C. There's vitamin P, right? You give a patch. Vitamin P. It's needed. And there's a reason, you should know also, explain something, it's important to know. Never hit a child in places that's improper to hit. There's even a rule, right? In America, they have a rule. You're not allowed to hit on the face, right? You're not allowed to hit, right, in places where it's, could bring harm to a child. You could, do something that's not gonna. What I saw by my Rabbi, he would come to a child, take him like this, grabs him, come over here. Okay, he takes his head and he hits him with one finger like this. You didn't act properly. What you did was wrong. And you should know, I want to explain something. Don't ever think that, a child does not understand what punishing is. What means one father. The brisker of Rabbi Yosef Khiyayev used to say that a child that's 3 months old already could understand already what punishment is. Wow. Could. A lot of times you see a child, right? You come to a child and you give him the stern look, you say, "Huh!" And suddenly, you see him stop, hello, what did I do? Already they understand from your reaction that something is wrong, and they go into panic. They start crying. There is a concept of children understanding what punishment. So what you do is, the Gemara says, if a child doesn't understand, he says you should take A, but people would think, right, to take off your belt, right? That's what you should do, right? The Gemara says you should take your shoelaces. Take a shoelace and hit him with the shoelace.
The metal thing on the
No metal. Now we're talking about the American, the cowboy shoes. No. Talking about the regular shruchena. Take him and hit him with. And it says if this doesn't help, once, twice you did it doesn't help. What did Chazal say already? Marbe alav ra'im. Go find him good friends. Find him good friends where he could learn to behave properly. Because if you hit a child once, you hit him twice, this is already a situation of you see that hitting will not do.
How do you do that? Find good friends. I remember growing up, my parents said also friends, go, change your friends or get new friends. It's not practical.
Okay,
but
no.
Guys,
No.
I'm change you.
You don't come tell a child you change your friends. You go outside and look for good friends and say, please come play with my son.
There is nothing like that in
this
America.
time of day.
I understand you, but I'm just telling you what Chazal say. Listen to the next thing. The concept is always liraga, to be calm. If you want to get a point across, you want to say something to a child where he will understand you. The point is not to get angry right away. Don't get, don't get heated up. You should. There's ways of punishing, giving a look, right, or telling a child what you just did makes me feel very bad. That in itself is a punishment too, because every child wants to be on the good side of the parent. Every single child wants, his father to think highly of him. You tell him, or you hit him. Where you hit him? There's a reason why there's a soft spot, right? On the bottom over there. Gently, you take him and you give him a little thing. But a child, you come and you explain. The point is always to explain. Explain why. And tell him, listen, this is only a zecher, shetiskol. Kacha. Tiskol. Remember what you did wrong. And this is the way to do it. You have to use and utilize the concept of love. You have to learn to love a child. It's very important. A lot of people have this misconception. One time, I remember, I told you a story. One time there was a story. Somebody came to my rabbi, and he said to the rabbi, my child, he's a child that doesn't listen. And the person was going on and on. The rabbi said to him, bring me the child. I want to see him. He brought him the child. The rabbi looked at him. He's a miskin ayed. He looks at the child like saying, oh, poor thing, what do you want from him? What was it? Yelet Hamud. The way you told me who he is and what he is, I thought I'm going to come, I'm going to see a lion. But I see he's a keves, a little sheep. What are you doing? What are you doing? And you know what the rabbi said to him? You know, after they were speaking, the rabbi said to the child, he turns to the father, he says to me, tell me, he says, you know, you punish your children, you know, and I'm talking to you about the concept of, the rabbi was explaining to him there's a concept of punishing children. There's a reason, there's yesh inyan, Chazal say, Shlomo HaMelech said, Shlomo HaMelech became a good child because his mother, she took what's his name? And she gave it to him. She used to give it to him, Makot. And he said, the only reason why I became a good child is because my mother used to give it to me. Batsheva, she would give it to him. She would tell him, stop drinking wine, enough. Enough this, must speak. When
he was sleeping and he didn't wake up?
When he didn't wake up to open the keys, or open the Betamidash doors. But listen to this. So they said, the rabbi said to him, the rabbi was explaining to him the concept, you know, there's a way of punishing a child, you know. So the guy, but the rabbi says, but can I ask you just one question? He says, what? He says, before I talk to you about punishing a child and doing what you're doing, do you ever hug your child? Do you ever hug your child? Do you ever kiss your child? And this guy, you know what this guy said to him? This guy said to the rabbi, he said to him, he says, no, I never kissed my child in my life. So he asked him, why? Why not? You never kissed your child. What do you mean you never kissed your child? He said, I one time saw in the Sefer brought down that one of the most greatest things that a person could find, you know, a pleasure in is by kissing a child. Giving a love to, showing, you know, hugging a child, whatever. And he says, I wanted to, Chasidut. I accepted it by myself, Chasid Shoteh. Chasid Shoteh Shebashotim. Stupid Chasid. Foolish Chasid. You never do this. The rabbi told him, oh no, don't you dare raise your hand on him. Don't you dare touching this child. Go hug him and go kiss him. Go show him, hug him, put your hand around him. You know, we have a rule. You know, in Lakewood they have a concept, even in Queens they have it too. They have something called Avotu Banim. Parents learn with children. And the way to sit by Avotu Banim is, you know how? Not to sit across. Of course, to sit across, you know, you want to explain to a child, he looks at you, it's very nice. He says, no. To put the child next to you. Put your hand around him. Say you're good, and you know, press him to yourself. Bring him closer with the right hand. Put him on the right side. Show him chashivut. Show him the importance. If you don't show a child that you care about him, he will never listen. And you know, a lot of children, you ask them, you know, your parents love you. You know what he says? He says they hate me. They don't care about me. And not once you're gonna go and hear a child go and express himself to his parents, say, and you don't care about me. And they turn their back and they walk out. This is something that people have to understand. You have to show ahava, chiba. It's needed. Sure. Chazal say shlosha, right? They say there's three things, right? Small dochai, amin, mekarevet. You want to push away? You push away with the left hand only. But when you bring him close, you have to bring him with yamin, stronger hand. You bring close. My Rabbi always used to say this line to me. He says, firm, but kill them with love. These were his words always to me. Say, with children there's a rule. Firm, but kill them with love. Tarelo, don't. You know, a lot of people, they kiss their children. For what? Because you love the child or because you love yourself? You want to enjoy yourself. Kiss him sincerely. Show him that you love him. You care him. You care about him. Shechpat lecha. This is your child. Say beautiful things to him. Say, Bo neshama, Bo, come, my soul, come over here. Neshama shiri, right? Something you call him. A lot of people I see, Chavivut, they call a child Abale, Boina. Come, Daddy, right? The Persians, you hear them, come, Daddy John, come, right? Or let's say an uncle comes to his nephew, he says, come, Amu. He tells him, come, uncle, come over here. The uncle calls his nephew an uncle, come. This is Chavivut, Chashivut. Your show. This is something very important. Very important. Spending time with children is very important. And every child needs his individual attention. Individual. Kol yeled ze yeled. You know, Avraham is Avraham, Yitzchak is Yitzchak. Yitzchak is not Avraham. It's different children. One could be short, one could be very tall. Right? Yeah, sure, we have an example, right? At the same time, every person is different. You cannot say, I raised you all equal. I treat you all the same. That's exactly a lot of times could be a problem. You cannot treat all the children the same. And people with experience, you could ask people who are a little bit in the age, they'll tell you, yes, it's so true. And because I treated them all the same, one came out the other way, the other one came out a different way, and they're not the same. No children are alike. Bukhari is saying they show like this. They say here, 5 fingers, like this. Everybody see one. It's all different. Never the same. Never the same. You have this. This is what we're going up to. Listen to this. He says even it comes to a point of realizing that they say, listen, they have the same father and the same mother. How could it be one child's? We have here in the morning, right? Abraham knows. Those 2 little twins, right? Better nachat, keres nachat. 2 kids, Itamar, and what's the other one? Shiloh, right? Shiloh and Itamar, Shnei Hamudim. Mamash, Shnei Hafachim. 2 kids, but both opposite the track. Opposite. And their grandfather comes with them.
Father is the
father. Is their father?
I hope he doesn't see this video.
אמרו לי על הילדים שלי גם ככה. אבא שלהם.
זה אבא שלהם.
I always understood that it's not their father, but anyway, it's okay. He brings them, he's the grandfather. I asked him.
What do you mean?
Not grandfather. That's not what the shul is for. Listen to this.
Find out tomorrow.
Children are different when it comes to paying attention. Children, listen. Children are different when it comes to paying attention. Children are different when it comes to understanding. Every child is different.
Amen.
Every child, what you could say to one, you cannot say to the other. And you have to have a proper approach. You have to be a chacham pikach, and you should know. Children love to listen to their parents because they know that their parents, they could rely on them.
Until the age of 17 something.
Always. You should listen to this. It comes like Shlomo Melech says, "Chanoch lanar al pi darko." Every child has a derech; he has his way. You are there only to balance it. Balance only. Yes. We said that in the first shul. There's second shul. There's no shitting. Afal piken. What the way to do it is a lot of tefillah. Pray. You know how you pray for a child? You take care of his shoes. You buy him shoes. שיגדל הבן שיהיה בריא. כמו שעשה בו את היוסי בה. קלון שווה, right? Always דברים right? Right? They always used to say good things come out of their mouth. Right? Always a prayer. The prayer could be a silent. The prayer could be loud. Anything, any time of the day. He's going on the bus. He should have chaverim tovim. He should have a more, a teacher that's going to be in the school. Should be hashpa'a tova. Should be sviva tova. Be involved.
More important.
Listen to this. Listen, but you should know. There's another important thing you should know. We said not always do children listen, but you should know. I want to tell you the truth of the matter is, every child listens. The question is when he applies it. When it will come out of him. Chazal say about Menashe HaMelech. Menashe HaMelech was a little child when he ran away from home. When his father killed Rav Sheka. Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, he had 2 children. He took Rav Sheka, the Menashe, he hit him head on head. He hit him, Rav Sheka fell down and died. Because they wanted to do Avodah Zarah, he got very upset at them. So he said Menashe was able to run away. And Menashe was Oved Avodah Zarah, did a lot of terrible Averot. And we would think Menashe HaMelech, who did so much Avodah Zarah Averot, we would think probably he never listened to anything his father said. Wow. In the future, later on, it says when Menashe HaMelech was captured by a whole clan, he was captured, by who? By cannibals. Ochlei Adam, those people who eat people. Cannibal. They caught him. The cannibals caught him. And they put a very big pot, and they were about to make a soup. And they threw him inside. And they heated up, or they started heating up. He says at that moment, it's Sanhedrin, no? Is it? When they started cooking him, he remembered what his father said to him when he was a little child. Can you imagine? He did tshuva, And Ribono Shel Olam saved him. Hashem saved him. He brought him back to his Malchut, brought him back to Yerushalayim. Question if he brought him even to Olam Haba. There's a whole machloket. But you see from here, so Gemara, you see from here that a child listens. You know, I tell you honestly, you can have a child and you might think he's not paying attention. And you should know, a lot of times you think the children are sleeping. But sleeping. They are awake. And you know, sometimes they could be awake the whole night, and then they're awake the whole entire day too.
So, if you talk to your child, and he defies you, and goes against you, and argue with you, blames you, he still listens.
He listens. He listens to everything you say. A child listens to everything his father, his mother has to say. But you know, a lot of times you have to take him over and say to me, explain to me, why don't you want to listen? That's exactly the key of the game. The key of the game is, the rule is, you have to show him. And every person if every child knows that his father cares about me, the only place he's going to go to and run to and be close to is always the house.
Another question was coming up before. You said to explain what his mistake was, right?
Yes.
How about when you explain and he said, well, it wasn't me, it's because of...
Listen to everything he has to say.
Because of him, because I'm
you
not
have to listen to everything, and you'll be surprised. A lot of times, you could track it really and find out really was because of that. And
yeah,
you say, I understand you. You tell him, Ani mivin otcha, I understand you, but it's still not the reason to do shit. It's not, even though I see koev lecha, and I see that he really hurt you. He said something not nice. He did say something, he acted improperly to you, but it still does not give the reason for you to do this. And you explain. It needs to be that. This is the only way. Especially in this generation. In our generation. Our generation, tarim yad, you pick up a hand, they walk out of the house. They walk out, and it's not a joke.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's not the way to do. You should know. You have to input a lot of invest. The first one is to do is lechanech kodem kol et atzmechem. The husband and wife.
Amen.
The husband and wife. If everything is perfect, there's bigger chances the children are gonna be good. Let's go further. Let's go on. Always children listen. Like we say, Gemara Chazal, Oznaim lakotel, right? They say, Bukhari used to have a saying. They used to say, they all gosh dora, right? They say, it says the word mush dora, mush gosh dora. They used to always have this saying. They say like this. They say the walls have mice, and mice have ears, and mice go and tell over the information to the other place. The orech, it goes. They listen to everything. Children listen. They listen to everything. Next,
Rabbi.
Next,
sorry,
yes.
Since we're asking questions. I've heard once before that it's not proper to ask the kid like why he did something. I don't know, maybe it's for little kids.
No.
They don't know themselves why they did it. What they did.
That makes sense.
And being a kid, you don't want to admit to something when you're on the spot. You're hot. But you're gonna admit to what you did. You're already in trouble. I'm gonna say, nobody really wants to admit.
No, but you tell them what you saw and what
and they're not gonna admit it, and they're just gonna be like.
Okay, but this, why children do not admit. We're getting there soon. We're going to get to the next point. Listen to this. There's another rule in chinuch. It's not enough to say it once. You could tell not once. I even hear myself. I already told you this 10 days ago, and 20 days ago, and 30 days ago, and last year. And I warned you, and I clearly specified, if you do this, if this and this will be done, this will be outcome. No, end of our A child needs to be told again.
100 times, 1,000 times.
1,000, sure. Chazal say, lo maspik pam achat. Sometimes not even 200 times is enough. Rav Preda, Chazal say, used to tell a child, teach a child Torah 400 times. Till it would register in the head.
That's Torah.
Again and again. This is by everything. But it's not enough to say. And you should know these rules we learn from Torah, from Chazal. You look in the Torah, most funniest thing, should I tell you? The Yigal's question should be like, say, I don't understand. Every time in Torah it says, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. How many times do you have to say that? Don't we know Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu? And besides that, you could ask a question. What's this Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe and lemor? What's this lemor? Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe, Daber Bnei Israel. What's this lemor? What's the word lemor? Saying. Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu, saying. And it says over there, Daber al Bnei says, speak to them. What's going on over here? So Chazal explain, the Mepharshim, they explain, you know what the concept is? Vaydaber Hashem and Moshe. Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, the way I say it to you, lemor, that's how I wanted you to tell to Bnei Israel too. And Chazal say when Moshe Rabbeinu used to come to tell to Klal Israel, he says when he used to open his mouth, they used to hear it like Moshe Rabbeinu heard from Ipi Agvura. And you ask a question, for what? Lama? We can't say things quietly, take him to the side, say Moshe Baruch said this, Hashem said this, Hashem said, no. Because you know why? Because the rule is, the point is, that when you talk to him, you're not only talking to the person in front of you, you are talking to the next generation too, and the next generation coming after as well. You gotta know that you are trying to transmit. You coming to give over. You know the way you give it to him, and the way you make an impression. You make a chavaya. You make it lively to him. The more you do the right way you say it, that's exactly how he's going to be able to say it to his child too. You're talking to the next generations too. That is the point. Vaydaber Hashem and Moshe lemor. The same way. Next. And also, by the way, but I saw it's brought down. You should know, children forget. Children forget. They forget. What you tell them, they forget. It's normal. And a lot of times, a child, you should know, children are very smart. They say, I don't see the comparison. What happened last time has nothing to do with this time. And a lot of times, a child, by little details, is different.
Yeah, but if you say this time, I'll let it go, next time, there will be consequences.
You come over to him, you say, explain something to you. Say, I am your father. I care for you. That's how you're supposed to start. You go and you grab and say, I am your father. Your father and your mother are the ones who care for you. They love you. And they only do it is because for your own benefit. For you to be a better person. To behave better. You don't see your parents behaving this way. There's no reason for you to behave this way. Now, listen to this. You have to know there's one more important thing. By learning how to do something to yourself, by knowing how to do something for you to yourself, you'll be able to transmit something very important to a child too. Nimusei derech eretz, to teach children how to behave properly. For example, one of the most important one is to learn how to keep quiet. Lishtok kshacharim midabrim, kilmat laakshif, to keep quiet when others speak. Let others finish talking. And the way to do it is, when you and your wife talk to each other, you talking, she listens, and when you finish, you start. And it's also important to ask, say, I heard everything you said. It's very important. If you learn how to listen and how to keep quiet, it will bring out a good thing to a child too. You could tell a child, you know, a lot of times, you say to a person, why can't you keep quiet when I'm talking? You know what the child will say to you? Because you always talk when mommy tries talking to you too. You don't listen to your own friends. You interrupt. It's not a proper thing to do. Teach children how to keep quiet. For example, elderly person is speaking. There's no reason for a child to talk. And the way a child will learn from you, that learn from you yourself. To know that it's important to listen, lakshiv, lishtok, to keep quiet, to listen. How not to speak without permission. Father, mother are talking and a child is interrupting them in the middle. And a child has to learn how to ask permission. May I do this and this and this? For example, there's a cheder shena. I'll give you a perfect example. Bedroom. Parents' bedroom. It's important that you know that if a door is closed, אין דבר כזה, לפתוח דלת ולהיכנס לדבר. No such thing as just barge in and start talking. It's not acceptable. You tell a child, it's a derech eretz. You tell him, you know, Aaron HaKohen, he had a meir, he had a coat. On the bottom of his coat, Hashem made what? He made the pamonim. He made the bells. Why? So when Aaron walks into the Kodesh, Hashem knows Aaron is coming. But still, Torah teach you derech eretz. When you walk in someone's house, knock on the door before you go in. It's always important. You come into the house, knock on the door. And only then open the door. Just because you have the keys doesn't mean run in. Knock on the door. Come inside. Parents' bedrooms. There's a family room where parents want to talk in private. You have to learn to ask permission. May I say something? Can I have this is derech eretz. This is where they learn from us. Also important, we spoke about in the previous show, not to raise your voice. Don't yell. Lo litzok babayit, af pam. Never. No screaming, no raising voices at all. Talk with a low tone of voice. Derech eretz, show kavod for one another. If we show respect, you see a father walked in, a father says, you get up in the house. My father walks into the house, I get up. I have, marbim basimcha, right? I'm sorry.
How do you educate a kid, let's say 15, 18 years old?
They learn from a living example. If they can't, if it's too late, it's never too late. It's never too late.
I came in.
It's never too late.
Stand up, get up.
No. If a father walks in, you should teach him, say, you could bring it up, say, from the Kibud Ava Emet is proper, what a father is. The way to do it, the best thing is, the mother should always talk to say, father, she should always like this. I remember there was an important rule they had, the way to bring up children. It would be important to know. For example, a mother wants to tell a child what it means to love, right? She should say to a child, she should say, I love Abba. He's the best. And you know what a child learns? He learns it. Oh, really? It's nice.
Somebody loves him. Then
and it goes both ways.
Exactly like what happened in my
It goes both. Don't ask it, don't mention it. Right? It goes both ways. It's a two-way relationship. You say, I love Abba. The father should say to the child, I love mommy. And I love her. She's the best. She's a wonderful cook. She cares for all of you. She raises you properly. Talk positively. Positive.
Next to the mother or
not necessarily next to her. Could be next to her, could be especially away from her. When she's not there. And you have it. I love mommy. I miss her. Yeah. That is the way to do it. There's another one. Is also important to learn. Is what? Levakesh mechila. To learn in general, to learn how to ask for forgiveness. For example, you did something wrong to the child and you did your cheshbon, you come over to him and say, you know what? This and this and this is what happened. I think I was wrong. I have to ask you for forgiveness.
The father
of course, but you know what you're doing to a child? You are teaching him how to learn to be mivater, to forgive. You're teaching him how to come to point forward and ask him for forgiveness.
I missed.
It's important that people have to know, to learn how to ask for forgiveness, and to know how to forgive.
You're right. I was wrong.
You say what I did was it wasn't proper. I ask you for forgiveness. It's Yom Kippur every day. Why not? Yom Kippur Katan is almost every Erev Rosh Chodesh. No, so you go away, you speak to, you tell them this. Also important is to teach how to be model ha'emet. Admit. Learn to admit. It's important to learn to admit. Why? Because a child will learn to be model ha'emet also. You want your children to inherit the proper way of, what Bnei Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov is midat ha'emet. To learn how to say the truth. It's very important. This is important rules. Another rule. We'll try to cover this one and that we'll stop. Here's another important rule. The rule is, in order to give chinuch, and I really mean it, you should know this. It's a rule. I remember that this is what used to be in the olden days. A father and mother who want to give chinuch to their children, they need a lot of kochot. Strength. Not only mentally, I'm talking about even physically. One time I remember there was a story. I'll tell you the moral of the story. Maybe the story is like, I was like, okay, no, but the moral behind, the idea behind it is beautiful. One time there was a story, there was nothing to eat in the house. A mother found one egg. She found one egg that it was a hard-boiled egg, and she was debating how should she divide the egg between herself and her two children. who should get what part exactly. She was thinking, you know what? I'm going to give everything to my children, cut it in half and give half to him, half to him. And then she said, you know what? Maybe I should divide it into 3 parts. Between 3 of us. And then she came to a point, a decision. She said, you know what? No. I'm going to eat the whole egg. Why? She says, because if I don't eat the egg, what's going to be by the next meal?
What's going to be by?
Next meal.
When are we going to get the next meal?
Who'll take care of them? Who'll take care of them? She says, I need the kochot. I'm the one to push. I'm the one who's pushing the stroller. I need the strength. She ate the egg. But she was able to gain kochot, to go out, to make more money, and to bring parnasa home. Take care of her children more. It's important. Parents have to know a rule. Parents have to be rested up. Cannot be tired. Yes, we are up, we work the whole day, and we should know it's important to come to a point of learning. An important thing. If you know that you are tired, and you need your kochot, by the end of the day, you can't come home and say, you know what, I don't bother me now. The child says, I can't even talk to him. So he's telling me that I should never come. Well, I'll go outside to my friends to also listen. They leave. You have to be all there. If you know you're coming home, learn. It's an important thing. 15-minute nap in the afternoon. From 15 minutes to a half hour in the afternoon nap is very important. You have sleepless nights. Baruch Hashem, you believe, right? The children are born every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. Little babies in the house. And those babies have to be cared for. And they drain our kochot, they drain our energy. Yeah? And we are tired. Learn to take a nap. How important, I give you the best advice. If you have the option of going to pray the earliest in the morning, go pray the most earliest minyan possible, come home, sit down, eat a good breakfast first, and then go wake up the children. Take care of yourself. You need the strength. You have to have the kochot. We are weak as it is. We need, for example, if you look in, there's a halakha, a rule, a Rabbi, a teacher in school is not allowed to start his day with a cup of coffee only. He is obligated by law. He has to eat a full breakfast. And sometimes, I pray in the shul. I go to shul different minanim. It always depends. By me, there's a rule. First I help out my wife, and then I catch the latest when I'm home, and then I catch the latest minyan. Because the first one to wake up in the morning, I have to wake up a child at 6. And then I have to wake up a child at 6:45. I have to wake up, somebody else at 7. I don't have a chance of running out of the house and being on time. It's very difficult. So I stay home. When I'm home, if I can pray nets the earliest, lucky me. No, 8:30 minyan. Sometimes even 9 o'clock minyan. But I make sure the children are all in place, taken care of. Because if I throw everything on one person, she won't be able to handle them later on in the day. Comes towards the end of the day, you receive a phone call. When are you going to be home? Come home and say, I'm falling apart. And it's understood. How much can one person do? You have to be there to assist. But the most important way is the first thing you do is, your wife is going to be up soon. Prepare her a breakfast. And say to her, you know what, I made you a special breakfast. So she says, so you made it, thank you for making the mess in the kitchen, right? No, she says, so make the food
Why
for the children. Why
did you use this? You one more extra dish?
Make the food for the children, don't worry about me.
To continue to do that.
A lot of mothers do that. You know what they say? Don't worry about me, take care of the children, make the food for the children first. No. Make the food, say, you know what? Say, you need your kochot. I need you to be healthy and strong. There's always a rule. They say a mother that has a little child, and the child, is a nursing child, or a newborn baby. When the baby goes to sleep, the mother goes to sleep.
Yeah.
No work, nothing. Invest time in the beginning, let her rest up. She's going to gain her kochot. She's going to be the best help out there. The wife, she wants to do the more she can, the more kochot she has, the more she'll do. And it's very important. It's a rule for every single one of us. Don't drain yourself and then come to a point of saying, you know what? I don't have the koch anymore. Because the rule is not like this. Chazal say our father is able to take care. It says 600,000 children cannot take care of one father. And one father can take care of 600,000 children. From where? From Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu said to Moshe Akash Baruch Hu, did I give birth to this nation? Are you telling me to take care of it? So Chazal learned from here that if he would actually would give birth to them, he would be able to take care of them. And Bukhari, they have a famous saying. They say one father can take care of 10 children, and 10 children cannot take care of one father. This is a rule. It's true. It's true, and you should know we have to be there physically and mentally, and therefore we have to make it as pleasant and as best as possible for ourselves. For ourselves to know that we are here to raise children of Hashem. That people don't know, they don't belong to us. This child is not ours. You know, the best way to raise a child is, believe me, if your neighbor's child misbehaves, you don't go smacking him. You go over to him and say, you know what you did was not proper. Feel that way. These children are not mine, they belong to Hashem. This is important. If you treat your children, believe me, you're going to raise them to the best way possible. They'll grow up to be good children. Learn, but the best way to do it is by setting a good example yourself. To think about others, to be sincere to others, to worry about others, to do for others, to listen to others, to talk to others, and to be there, and to be always there available. And this is the most important rule. You have to be there physically and mentally ready to raise these children properly. Okay, we'll have to stop here, but Hashem will do more next time.